Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started. We're going to kick off with this panel. And we're really, when we think about the morning session that we just had, and out of the whole theme, like if you joined the morning session, we talked a lot about seamless, integrations, connectedness. And I'm very proud of this panel because we're going to really dive into the power of strategic partnerships in our industry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow each one of you to introduce yourself, starting with Ayana.
Thank you, Bobby. Is this on? Okay. Yeah, so I'm Ayana Burns, Chief Transformation Officer at Continental General. I am in charge of a lot of the strategic initiatives and kind of strategic growth opportunities within the organization. So a lot of things, dealing from, continuous improvement processes, things of that nature. I came from a background of doing a lot of firefighting, so being able to be on the other side, on the proactive side, and being able to implement in some processes and procedures to prepare our organization for growth is really what I'm focused on at Continental General.
Hi, I'm Angel Paravicini. I am with Empathy. Empathy works with life insurance carriers on providing a much more robust beneficiary experience, going beyond the payout, really focusing on that emotional, logistical support and everything beyond to really guide them and support them during one of life's most challenging times.
My name is Calvin Young. You can hear, right? I'm with Swiss Re, and I'm the Global Head of Life and Health Partnerships. You may only know Swiss Re for our insurance business, but we have set up a new division this year to help clients to grow sales, improve performance and efficiency through technology and data. That's where I come in. So I am, looking for partners who can help to incubate or to enhance our reinsurance solutions.
Hi, is this working? Yeah. I'm David Shaw, I'm co-founder and CEO of Penn River. We are a native cloud core life and annuity platform, built from the ground up, native for cloud, handling the most complex products in the industry, everything from variable annuities, variable universal life, index universal life.
Hi, everybody. I'm Laurel Jordan. I am the AVP of Operations and TPA Delivery for EXL Services. My background is in claims, and I was hired to lead their Claims Center of Excellence, but because I also had a good understanding of operations, I'm kind of doing both roles right now. So.
Thank you, everyone. So the topic that we're going to dive in for this panel is the need for ecosystem partners. And Angel, I'm going to start with you. So there continues to be amazing buzz about empathy in our industry. Share with us the importance of having strategic partners and how have you leveraged them to scale your organization?
Thanks, Bobby. I think we look at that life insurance experience, that initial claim. Unfortunately, loss has occurred. It's a very challenging time, a very difficult time, nothing that any of us want to get good at. And so partnering with Benekiva and strategic partnerships to really enhance that journey that they will experience really changes that mindset of what these beneficiaries are going through. And so we look at, I would say, 4 different main focuses, the innovation of it. We look at carriers, very antiquated, moving them into the 21st century, understanding, what tools and resources by having these partnerships and how we can make this such a much better experience as they go through this. Providing tech-enabled platforms. Benekiva has the nuts and bolts. How do we bring in empathy to provide that additional layer of service? Understanding that these carriers are there to support in one way, and that's providing them that financial security. And empathy then shows up and really shows up for the carrier, shows up for the beneficiary, shows up for the policyholder, and really enhancing and being that friend that we all wish we had when we're going through this very challenging time. I know we both are very focused companies, and we put that customer in the front and understanding that journey of what they have to go through and how do we make this seamless, use that word earlier, a much seamless process to really get them through this and get them that payout, but also supporting them through that other, everything else outside of that. Lastly, I think we all see, the claims teams and the challenges that they go through. I can imagine, coming into work every day and working through and trying to be as efficient as I can to get through this claims experience, but also having to listen to these stories of loss that these individuals just had to go through. And how do we show up and really help those claims teams with tools and resources that allow them to be much more effective, much more efficient, to get them that payout, but also, again, being that second support team there for them during this time.
Yeah, anything for the team to add in the topic of, leveraging strategic partners for growth? Because to me, I feel like claims examiners, in my opinion, when we going back to the staff experience, there are unsung heroes, right? Anytime there's such if you've not been in claims, there's a perception that there's not a good perception outside of the industry. Claims don't get paid. There's so much negative, right? But every claims person that I've ran across to wants to do the right thing. They want to pay the right claim.
But if we can take this experience and giving them the additional tools and resources, we look at retention and, employee satisfaction on their side of it. So, understanding what we can do to be that support system for them, I think that changes the outlook and, just understanding, you're right. These are people that, come in every day. They're amazing individuals, but understand they need support as well.
And I'd like to add to that, claims is probably one of the, claims and contact center are the two places we see the highest attrition because it's a hard job. And I started my career doing the claims processing and, like you said, you're hearing about stories of loss. I can recall taking phone calls from people just in tears. Their husband did everything for them financially. They don't know how to do that. And there has to be additional training and partnerships to enable those claims processors that are answering those calls and adjudicating those claims to have, I like to say, a different level of empathy and a different level of understanding to get that claim processed the right way in a quick amount of time and bring that human element to the whole claims process, because there is this massive negative, you just want to hold my money, you're not paying my claim, and changing that in the space of the industry, changing that perception of what claims is. And there's not a claims adjudicator out there that's trying to hold on to that money for that $1 of reserves. They might catch extra in interest, but changing that perception and getting not only the industry, but the insurance agents, the brokers, everybody to have a different understanding of the claims process and what anybody in that space goes through.
Agreed.
I can add a comment to that too. There's a fine line between, being able to provide that empathetic service to customers while also not being reckless for potential fraud that's out there, and being able to really leverage your data and your experience and finding the right technology partners that help you to manage both sides of those. So I know that that's something that a lot of organizations are struggling with.
Absolutely.
So speaking of solutions, Calvin, as a global leader of partnerships for the life annuity and health side for Swiss Re, I know you're always on a hunt for a good solution. So, and I know we're very grateful for our partnership and the rollout of our integrated claims platform with really the Swiss Re solutions with ACE and with CARE. So help us explain what is the process that you go through before bringing a partner into your ecosystem.
Yeah, thanks, Bobby. So the type of partners that we are looking for are the company who own or offer data, tool, or technology. So whenever I assess a potential partner, I ask myself three things. The top three things is this a practical, clear use case? Will this technology solve clients' pain points? And also how we can complement each other. it is so important we recognize what we are bringing to the table. I find a lot of companies that work so hard to fit new and trending technology into their tech stack, but more importantly, so they have to think through how the technology can work for them. So let's take an example of generative AI. So currently it's trending, it's exciting, but rather than ask a very broad or vague use case like how can we employ generative AI, I think it's more fruitful to think about the tech early on. What are the applications? So a more concrete and specific use case would be how can we use generative AI to improve the customer journey or efficiency at a call center. I think that it will give you more meaningful insight at the end. Now, when I think about, for the claims, side of the house through the claims lens, the key differentiator for Swiss Re has always been our deep understanding of risk. I am so grateful that the digital transformation has accelerated the claims vertical, finally, thanks to the shifting trends. And we responded to the market with ACE. You just mentioned about our claims intake solutions, and CARE is our claims rules engine. But I always ask the question, what do we have gaps? Who can fill them? With Benekiva, it is a perfect use case. We bring the integrated claims management platform that is a combination of Swiss Re tools and Benekiva to create the end-to-end solution. I think that is very important.
No, I love the process of how it's less about the solution and the tech, but it's about the problem. So I always talk about solving real problems. It's not chasing the shiny object syndrome, but it's really solving, it's all outcome related. If I solve this problem, what outcome am I going to receive? So that was a very great point,
Yeah,
Calvin.
absolutely.
Okay, so moving on. I'm so thrilled to have Ayana here because just a little bit about not all partnerships are a commercial exchange, right? And I think when I look at Continental General and how we've been partnered, they're not a client yet, quote, quote, of us, but when we were working on long-term care and we had a use case, we found immense value in the partnership that CGIC did with our team of investing their time to help us further define our LTC use case that we launched earlier in March. So Ayana, can you help us understand more about the long-term care space along with the type of partners that you look for, especially because your latest focus of your organization is to be, you are a TPA provider as well.
Yeah, thank you, Bobby. Just to give a little bit more background on Continental General, historically we have, had a big space in the acquisition of closed long-term care blocks. So as part of our strategic growth strategy, we were looking to branch out. We'd already been a ministering business, but again, as Bobby mentioned, we really expanded out into, being a true TPA out in the marketplace, expanding out, beyond just long-term care, as well as potentially entering the, entering back out there as, providing new business as well. So, there are some nuances on the long-term care side, as we, first were looking for a long-term care claims provider, which is, in comes Benekiva. And, in their defense, we didn't know exactly what we wanted either at the time, but we just knew that it didn't feel like it existed out there. And one of the great things, about this partnership, with Benekiva is they saw something, they saw a need that we had, realized there were others that had that same need. And, even though they didn't have it, ready out of the box, they went back and sharpened their tools and tried to, come up with a solution and start working on that and find a way kind of into that niche marketplace. Kind of to, go a little further into what you talked about with the long-term care, market and industry. There's a lot of emphasis right now on, aging in place and, keeping clients in their home longer. And, any conversation you have, everyone acknowledges the importance of long-term care. That said, there's only a handful of long-term care providers. There's a lot of hybrid products, that are out there that help, provide some of that coverage that clients are looking for. So us in partnerships, we're looking for, the technology solution is not even as important as the relationship and the partnership with the people behind the organization, because I think that's really where you can start to build and do some really great things together. So we're really looking for those partnerships that with organizations and companies that understand the uniqueness of our organization, being both a carrier and a TPA, our growth strategy, and that are willing to participate in that growth and kind of develop together with us.
And so when we look at that LTC market, one of the things that I would encourage folks that are wanting, if you're a solution provider or even a carrier that's got a niche problem, it's not always you have to do a commercial transaction to further define a use case. We're all creative here. I was just having this conversation this morning. It's about how do you leverage your network to help you further define out the use case. And what we're finding is when you're being more creative about approaching, like we approached CGIC to kind of adopt us to help us learn about this. It doesn't hurt to ask, right? But I think it was such a mutual benefit. It's an example of how you can be a partner without a commercial exchange. And I think we from an industry perspective always do that because sometimes there's an exchange, but sometimes a lot of immense value comes in when there's not that commercial exchange, but it's more about building relationships and leveraging those networks as you scale.
And also just building up and contributing to the industry as a whole, helping each other. We're not in competition with each other. We're all, trying to move the industry forward, So
David, so we've had so much conversation around the importance of connected platforms, like best of breed solutions, and how do we stitch that together in a seamless way? I mean, we heard that throughout the workshop earlier is integration, seamless, 1 minute from the time they died to, and that is not a pipe dream, that will come in the future. So in your opinion, what is missing? Because you've been a CIO for several organizations, now you're a co-founder and a CEO of an up and coming admin solution. What do you think is missing in our space?
Yeah, I think it's less a technology issue and more of an alignment and people and process issue when you really think about it. A lot of the vendors out there aren't always incented to work together as they should. Sometimes most vendors have a core product on their platform that they're very proud of and that they do well. And as they branch out from that core, that's where the challenge begins because those typically aren't best of breed. And so when they're calling on a carrier client, they're obviously wanting to get the biggest piece of the pie as possible versus trying to solve that client's problem and partnering for the things that they are ultimately not as good at, right? So we're really good at core admin, but we don't aspire to be a claim system. We want to complement the claim systems. We want to calculate that death benefit, but that whole process, there's a much bigger process around that. So we want to connect with our APIs. We want that to be a seamless experience. And so I think often when contracting with a group of carriers and putting together an integrated solution, a lot more thought needs to go into the partnerships and what is incenting these vendors to play nice together and how will they work. I think the more you can put into that, the better the outcome will be. So if you're contracting for multiple products, usually that goes through a contracting process and that department is trying to optimize the price lower the risk. But where is that getting the vendors together? Making sure they're going to cooperate. There's a spirit of cooperation, building that environment where they feel comfortable working together, thinking about that process ahead of time versus, okay, now we've contracted, all of a sudden they're not playing nice and the carriers are having to work that out together. So the more thought you can put into that up front, the better. And my suggestion to the vendors is do what you do best. Do a great job, partner, be open to working, and you will get a bigger piece of the pie. It will come. Don't, play the turf wars up front, basically.
Now that's, when I think about partnerships, tech is just a small component. So, from your lens, I'm going to ask you another question. From your lens, what are some things outside of tech that you should look for when you're partnering with organizations?
Yeah, I think take a good hard look and see how are they working together today? What is their sales process? What partnerships do the vendors have? What have they demonstrated in the past? What can you do to entice them to work together? How do you build that? Are there any red flags up front? Are you having those as you're contracting with these vendors? Are you having that discussion about partnerships and how they partner and how they're going to share their data, how they're going to share their integration and their interfaces? What is their process for working with different carriers? Have they run into conflicts working together? The more people process you can put into it. We all talk about APIs, and of course we have our APIs. Everybody has their APIs these days. Stitching them together technically is a lot easier than making them work together from a people process. And the more you can put into that, the more thought, certainly the better. Thank
you. Laurel, you and I have been in this partnership space since the first day of your hire. I would love your thoughts, especially from a Center of Excellence perspective, how you view the role of partners, especially in operations.
So I think partners are right up there along with our resources and our employees. Because we are all very like-minded on how we're going to do the job. And having that like-minded, like you said, my very first day, a little backstory, I worked for another TPA for 23 years, moved over to my current job at EXL almost 3 years ago. On my very first day, my boss at the time said, I want you to meet Bobby. She runs Benekiva, which is our claims solution. We had a 15-minute call set up just for an introduction. We talked for almost 2 hours, all about claims. And so that like-mindedness in your partner and understanding where that partner is coming from, what either you as the consumer or you as the provider need and understand and what you can do is so vital and important, because if you don't understand what my need is and what my solution is, and then you provide me something that partially works or doesn't work, or we're not on the same page, I've lived through that, and it's very difficult to get the process done. You have to throw in manual interventions. You have to come up with workarounds, create new procedures or SOPs and new documentation. So understanding that, and especially in the claims space, everybody has got the new shiny gadget right now. It's either generative AI, it's ChatGPT, it's AI answering your phones for first notice of loss, it's Extracto to pull your data from your claim forms. Understanding that and the partnerships, we're going live with a current client together at the same time right now, and our partnership, any question I've had as we're training the resources and getting at everybody, I can reach out and they're right there. And that is so vital, important. And just like your resources can reach out to me and ask me something around a regulatory thing, and so you have to have that partnership together. And through that partnership, you develop a trust. And I'll say we can finish each other's sentences sometimes. And same with most of the Benekiva employees. We start talking claims, we're all like a bunch of nerds and gurus sitting there, and we're like, well, we can do this and we can do that. And if you're in the claim space, you're in the claim space. It's just, it takes a certain type of person. And things we were talking about earlier. So I think that partnership is so vital and so important in all aspects, from when you're starting that partnership and as you're growing that partnership. As we bring on new clients or you bring on new technology, working together. We've done 2 or 3 sessions now where we just sit in a room and come up with use cases and ways to add those APIs and add those integrations. And what about this? The new writers, the new IT products that are being added for simplified final expense. The GLWB writers, the newest flavor of those. How do we make that work with the technology and the understanding of the product to make the claims experience better? So our partnership is like minds, and even when we're not like minds, it's not to say we agree on everything. You may have something in your head that you believe, I have something that I believe, but we always find a way to come to the middle to make what's best for the end goal here. It's not the client, it's not the tech provider, it's the customers we're servicing. And that's what I think all of our goal is. How do we make that customer experience better?
Yeah, going back to a little bit of what David was sharing, like when we look for partners, we look for, forget about the tech. To me, the tech is the easy part. We look for joint missions. Sometimes we will choose partners that are more innovative than an established, just because we can have that synergistic and that hustle to really take the industry forward. And it's all about like what's our end goal, right? And if we have that shared vision and goal, it really makes the partnership click, even though sometimes there are struggles, right? Like how do we go, from a commercialization process? But I think those things are so much solvable when you're working with good people and good people that want to solve true industry problems. So with that said, Laurel, I'll have you share one piece of feedback and a call of action for our audience as they evaluate or, add additional partners in their ecosystem.
I'd say my one piece of feedback is do your due diligence and make sure you're of like mind and have the same goal or mission in place. And I guess my call to action is we can't solve all the problems on our own, and neither can any of our companies. And so this competition, or this company's doing this or that company's doing that, and having to keep up with the status quo, my call to action is let's try to add consistency in our industry to solve the problems together instead of competing with each other.
I don't think I could say it any better than that. It's all, at the end of the day, it's people, process, culture, alignment. Technology's the table stakes.
So mine is, have a shared set of values. When things are going well, success is easy. But when things are hard, it will come. It can be from clashing, cultures to competing capabilities. I think that ultimately putting your client's interests as a guiding principle, so that will keep your partnership successful.
I think we're all on the same page here. I think it's the user. Think about the user experience. What they go through. Put themselves in their their shoes at that moment of time. Understanding how we can bring a more effective, efficient experience from them, both from the claim side of it to benefits and services that you're provided afterwards, to really guide and support them, giving them relief. I think that's all our mission is really helping families deal with loss. And I think that's all of us are here on this panel that are really focusing on those types of things. So if we can put that user in the middle and focus on that, I think it's beneficial for all of us.
And I would say don't get stuck in the mundane of every day, and don't be afraid to go big. Don't let your thoughts be muddled by what someone or some other company is doing, and that you can't go above and beyond that. It's football season, and build your fantasy team. Get the best of the best. Get who's the best for that position that you need to complete your team, so that you can go and achieve that bigger mission. We don't have to think small, and let the everyday things kind of get in the way. It just muddies what you're trying to get done in the long run.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your nuggets of gold with all of us. We're going to take a little bit of break from until 2 o'clock. We're going to have an exciting sets of panels. We've got a few that are here that you will get to hear. Maybe have some drop the mic moments, expecting high expectations for Justin here, but we will resume our content side starting at 2 o'clock this afternoon. And then Laurel, if I could have my clicker, we do have. I don't know who's watched Curtis. Let me see if it's.
Insurers are fleeing the market.
We're going to end by having you guys watch this amazing talent in our industry who's created a music video called Hard Market. Thank you, everyone.
Big impact in the California market.
The costs associated with wildfires are too high, and
it's becoming harder and harder to get homeowners insurance policies.
No longer accepting applications for homeowners insurance.
It's a hard market.
Market is the upswing in the insurance market cycle. When premiums increase, coverage terms are restricted, and capacity for most types of insurance decreases.
It's a hard market now. What you gonna do? You got reinsurance issues, LOC from Best Stew. Your capacity is shrinking, paper going up in smoke. Combined ratio is climbing, and that ain't no joke. Well, the cats keep coming, but your filing's not approved. You just trying to make a dollar, but you got nowhere to move. So you're shutting down states, non-renewals in the mail. Cut your losses and your bosses, cause the ship's about to sail. Seems the fire's creeping further, not just Cali anymore. Islands burning, book is churning, profits running out the door. Concentration is a problem, and you gotta take some rate. Regulators regulating, now it's time to innovate. You got coastal going postal, wind and water, flood and hail. That exposure, full disclosure, causing carriers to fail. Pipes are popping, people tripping, losses climbing through the roof. It's that hard market. Look around at all the proof.
The hard market.
Hard market.
Hard market.
Hard market.
Hard market.
Hard market.
Hard market. Hard market.
Hard market.
Hard market. Hard market.
Hard market.
Hard market.
Hard market.
Hard market.
Hard market. Hardening market.
Hard market.
Hard market.
Hard market.
Hard market.
Hard market.
Hard market. Hard market. Hard market.
Hard market.
Getting harder to find cover. Appetite is looking slim. Actuarial analysis says time to sink or swim. Better tighten up your underwriting. Solid data first. Mitigation across the nation. Watch the ratio reverse. You must get your house in order. Your risk management is key. Self-inspection and reflection. Open blinded eyes to see that your renewal book is dirty cause you haven't looked in years. Take a peek behind the curtain and confront your deepest fears. Mama said there would be days like this, and mama's always right. In this hard market, you can quit or you can fight. Do the hard things, tough calls. Do not be afraid. In the crucible, the heat is how the winners will be made. So rise up and face the challenge. Keep the promises you make. Bring indemnity when life is hard and everything's at stake. Don't forget it's not just numbers. People are our policy. Pack your bags and get to Vegas, cause it's time for ITC.
Hard insurance markets may be caused by any number of factors, including falling investment returns for insurers, increases in frequency or severity of losses, and regulatory intervention deemed to be against the interests of insurers.